everyone can see in here.
Welcome to the 9th Elderly Instruments Living Room session. Elderly is your new and used instrument store here in Lansing, Michigan, and of course at elderly.com. Today we will feature 2 sets of music with Lily Henley and a 10-minute interview during the intermission. In case you're not sure why you're here, Lily Henley is an award-winning singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist. She has performed extensively around North America and abroad and has 2 upcoming albums. We're really grateful she's made time to be with us tonight. Please welcome from her living room to yours, Lily Henley.
Casa hoy puedo pintar, las ollas puedo arrollar, la cuadra puedo encolgar, las escrituras bien collar. Se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más. Agua sobre tu cuerpo aregaré, con alas sobre volar y cuando te reposarías, abriré las puertas, salga el invierno y entre el verano. Se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más. Acordate cuando venimos por la escala y toquimos el fondo de la mar. Oras Dezaoradas intentar aguantar el mareo. Se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más. Hoy voy a venir a estas casas, sembraré rosas y salvias, libraré las palomas que se fueron a donde quisieran. Se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más. I could paint the house today. I could plant the roses in the sage. Oh, I could hang the ropes wing high, watch the children play. Se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más, se podría verte una vez más.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks so much to Elderly Instruments for having me. From kind of the doorway of my sort of living room in my tiny Brooklyn apartment, this is my pod mate and partner, Duncan Wickle. And
howdy, podmate.
have to say podmate. We are still socially distanced. And that was a song.
She has this room and I have this room.
So that was a song called Oras Dezaoradas, which is from my soon to be released record of songs in Judeo-Spanish from the Sephardic song repertoire. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a little bit. But it's just a love song that I wrote.
Sorry, I'm turning to you.
I'm gonna move up. No, I'm gonna move down. So we're gonna do another Sephardic song now, song in Judeo-Spanish. I guess I'll just say, I'll wait like a minute to talk a bit about this, but this is a really beautiful song called Alta Alta Va la Luna. The melody is a new melody that I wrote for these lyrics. The lyrics themselves are quite old, some hundreds of years old, and it's a love song, sort of sad, loving song, and conversation between a mother and a daughter, and the daughter's talking about how unlucky in love she is, and how she's waiting all day at the window for somebody that's gone away on a ship and is like never going to come back and hasn't written her any letters. And she says, "Mom, if I was born so unlucky and I have such an unlucky love life, basically, do you have any advice for me?" And her mom says, if you were born that unlucky, perhaps you should never have been born." But with empathy. So
It's like when people say no offense, and it's like, yeah, and then they say something really offensive.
no, it's not like that. It's like just checking. It's like somebody commiserating with you. You know, I'm so it's a commiseration. So anyway, so here's Alta Alta Va la Luna. Sorry, I need to move this mic slightly. Okay. Los pajaricos de los cielos cantan debajo del árbol de flor. Ahí se asentan los que sufren del amor. Alta, alta va la luna cuando empieza a amanecer. Y ya hermosa sin ventura cae a nacer. Los mis ojos se hincharon de mirar tanto a la mar. Vapores vayan y vienen, para mí letras no hay. Alta, alta va la luna cuando empieza a amanecer. Y ya hermosa sin ventura cae a nacer. Nunca llegué a nacer. Mamma mia, la mi mamma, un conselho dá-me tu. Un conselho da minha mamma, que sin ventura eu nasci. E já minha querida, que conselho que sin ventura, sin acidez, y no igualas a nacer.
cuando empieza a amanecer. Y ya hermosa sin ventura calle a nacer. Nunca llegué a nacer. Nunca llegué a nacer.
All right. Let's see where we're at in terms of set list. Yeah, I think I'll do one more. Do I'll have an see the one that's kind of new one.
Okay.
You're on. It's this one.
Oh, right.
So this is a kind of new song. I do this thing a lot with Ladino songs. So Judeo-Spanish, which is sometimes called Ladino, it's sometimes called Hakitia, is a kind of dialect of Spanish, and it's the language of the Sephardic people, which are the Jews of the Iberian Peninsula diaspora. So Jews that immigrated into what's now like Spain or Portugal from the Middle East, and then during the Inquisition there was another an expulsion, and all of those people went into the Ottoman Empire, like a lot of different countries in the Middle East, the Mediterranean, Morocco also, and this dialect of Spanish was just preserved, and it has bits of Turkish and bits of Hebrew and bits of Arabic in it, a lot of Hebrew, and there's the song tradition, and it's there's a lot of emphasis on female songs, like songs from the women's perspective, because it was very often sung by women, and it's a song repertoire that I grew up singing some songs from and have just delved further and further into it, especially in the last few years, and I guess I have like a personal interest in it because it's my music. So this song, I've been doing a lot of things with these old lyrics where I'm putting new melodies to them, and that I guess I'll talk more about that in the interview, but this is a song about love and going away, and it probably has words that are taken from more than one song, and I took a version of it and wrote a new melody to it. So it's called A la una yo nací, and it says, at 1 I was born, at 2 I grew up, at 3 I took a wife, a la una yo nací, and then it says, come. It's a lover asking somebody to come with them. And then at the end, there's just an unbelievable line that I just think is so poetic, where the person who's speaking says, "In my garden grow vines, in the sea grows coral, like coral grows, and in my heart grows love, and in your mouth grow lies." So that's the song.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day. It's just a lot of drama.
A la una yo nací, a las 2 me engrandecí, a las 3 tomé amante y las 4 me casé. Dime, Emilia, ¿dónde vienes? Que te quiero conocer. Y si no
before the pandemic, I used to make set lists and like plan everything out. But now that maybe it's just in reaction to the pandemic, that you just never know how you're going to feel. So sometimes having a set list is worse than just having a list of the songs that you might want to play and feeling them out and seeing what feels right. So maybe I'll switch vibes just a little bit and play New York. Did you play fiddle on?
Oh yeah.
So this is actually a song that I wrote during the pandemic. It was right in, I think in April, when things in New York were like particularly stressing. And there was just total shutdown here and confusion. And it was maybe like the first week that we were wearing masks, and it took like a minute to get used to doing that. And I wrote this song kind of from that perspective. The first day that you go outside and you can't recognize anybody, and you meet somebody on the street that you actually know, and they don't recognize you, and that kind of inspired me to write the song. So it's called New York City. And I don't know who's out there who will watch this later, but thanks for being here. And, all right. When New York City was the place to be, we stayed up all night drinking casually. We couldn't make a living wage, but the sidewalk was our stage and we were home. When New York City was the place to be, every night endless options beckoned me, and I had fear of missing out. And every time I conquered doubt, I thought I'd won. Now the world is closing down a Mobius strip that we can't stop from turning round. Tell me, would you recognize me if you only saw my eyes? When New York City was the place to be, we never thought to walk so carefully. When we'd buy coffee on the street, we'd touch every friend we'd meet like we were home. When New York City was the place to be, we rode the subway sitting knee to knee, and it was brimming and alive. A million things to try before the day was done. Now the world is closing down a Mobius strip that we can't stop from turning round. Tell me, would you recognize me if you only saw my eyes? Ooh, 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 They say a pink moon's coming back tonight. Where will you be when it's painting its light up, up into the sky, waiting for spring to pass and summer to be here? It takes 2 weeks to wax another 2 to wait.
city is our place, and I'm just waiting for your face to reappear. I'm just waiting for your face, waiting for your face to reappear. So, I'm plugging this before it dies. I was just when we were in the sound check online here, I was saying that this looks like a pretty well laid out little living room setup with a plant and 2 people, and you can't imagine what it looks like around me. We're in like a 2-foot wide hallway with like an entire stage set up on the floor. And Duncan's not allowed to, he has to stand back there and hide because he can't come out of this room or a million things will knock over. So, this is our pandemic life, trapped in our apartment. But, there have been some nice times. And I'm gonna go back to the Ladino songs. I'm about to put out this record. Actually, I'll talk a tiny bit about that because I'm trying to remember what I said in my interview with Lily, so that I don't repeat all of it before. This a couple, like maybe a year and a half ago or something like that, I got this email from the most unlikely place, a Sephardic record label based in Paris. So a record label specializing in Judeo-Spanish music, which I didn't even know was a thing that existed. And I've been doing this music like as part of what I do for a long time. And but I'd never recorded a full album of just Judeo-Spanish music. And I had recently started adding to the repertoire and creating new music. And so through this, I made an album. We flew to Paris and performed at the Festival of Jewish Culture in Paris, and then recorded this album, and that's where a lot of these songs come from, or like where you'll be able to get them. So it's going to be out online in the next couple months, and very delayed because of the pandemic. And this is the first track. I can now announce it will be the first track on the album. It's called Duérmete mi alma, and it's a really special song. The first half of it particularly is the lyrics are very famous, and I wrote this new melody for it that to me expressed it better. And the first half of the song says, it's like a lullaby, and it says, "Sleep, my darling, sleep, my sweetheart. Your father is out with another woman." I followed him, and I saw where they were eating a beautiful meal, and I saw him. And right before I recorded the album, I got together with this really well-known Judeo-Spanish song, I guess a folklorist, a person that collector of old and less well-known songs, and I just wanted some like last-minute advice about which lyrics I'd adapted, and I just showed her this is my version of Duérmete mi alma, and she said, "Oh, great, but you're missing half the song." Apparently, after the verse where she says, "I followed them and saw them," he comes home and he mimics the first line where she says, "Sleep, my darling, sleep, my sweetheart." He says, "Open, my darling, open, my sweetheart. I have returned from a long day." And she says, "Wherever you spent the day, you can spend the night." And then he says, "Demon woman, who told you?" And she says, "Devil of a man, I saw it for myself." Oh, and she locks the door with 7 locks. So I'm a real fan of the song. I think it's nice to sing this. It's in the first person, and it's very empowered. I really love it. So yeah, she doesn't do what she doesn't kill him. She just locks him out and tells him to go back to go have fun. If that's what you were doing during the day, that's where you can find your bed. So yeah, here it is.
is Duérmete mi alma. Dormite mi alma y dormite mi vida, que tu padre viene de una nueva amiga. Yo me fui detrás de él, por delante iba, pide que se iba de una nueva amiga, nuevo amor. Entré más adentro por ver lo que había. Pide meses puestas con ricas comidas. Yo me fui a mi casa, triste afligada. Yo cerré mis puertas con 7 andradillas, nuevo dolor. Ah, la, 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 la. Ah, la, 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 la. La, 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 ábreme mi alma, ábreme mi vida, que vengo cansado de rondar la vía. Si vienes cansado, cansado, te irías donde pasa la noche. Puedes pasar el día, nuevo dolor. Huye del demonio, que lo diría, hombre del huerco, que yo veía. Dormite mi alma y dormite mi vida, que tu padre viene de una nueva amiga, nuevo dolor. Ah, la, 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 la. Ah, la, 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 la. La, 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 Do you know what time it is?
No, I have no advice.
Can somebody in the behind the scenes just drop me a text about how long I've been playing?
Just look at your computer.
I can't, it's dead. The phone sucked all of its battery. So yeah, I was just thinking about this.
Somebody send us a telegram.
Yeah, here we go. Text messages come in. One more song. Okay, sweet, great. All right. I had that feeling. I had a feeling about it. So, you know what I might do is, yeah, let's play Open Your Door.
Oh.
Let's do it. Veer in a slightly different direction. The fiddle. So, this actually, like, ironic because of the name, is the first, maybe we should turn these on. Well, no, yours is good. This is the first song that I ever put the lyrics to a new melody that I'd written. Of Ladino songs, yeah. And it's kind of like, if there's anyone watching who is a songwriter. It's a really different experience writing a melody for or placing lyrics in a melody than just writing songs, which is something that I also do a lot. It's kind of fun just to sort of feel the form of what's there already. And this song is called Abre tu puerta cerrada, which means open your closed door. And the reason that I did it was just because the whole song is like a kind of vicious, like obsessive love song. And I just felt like it deserved a more intense, raucous, crazy. It just deserved a wilder, melodic holding place. It just needed something crazier. It has a couple different melodies that existed before this one, and this is mine that I like to play, and it's just fun to play some tunes. So it basically just says, open your door, open your closed door, and then a lot of things about how only I am deserving of your love. Only you're so beautiful, and only I'm deserving of your beauty and your love. So it's a very entitled love song.
Sounds like a real nice guy.
Yeah. All right.
I just kind of approximately tuned it.
Really? Is that fine?
Yeah.
Oops.
What's happening?
He's muted.
He doesn't realize it. Why don't you unmute and tell him he's muted?
I don't know if I'm muted.
Well, message him or something.
He is messaged.
Hey, I'll just pop in to say that Stan was muted, but we're going to take a set break and watch an interview with Lillian Werbin and Lily Henley. So everybody enjoy the interview.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
So good to see you.
It's really good to see you, and I'm excited to interview you again. So let's let the audience get to know you like I have. The last time I interviewed you, we spoke a lot about the blend between genres and kind of pulling from tradition and adding your current flair. Talk to me about the kind of blur of music that you touch on in your creative.
Sure. So, what I do now is a lot of what I guess I'd call new Sephardic music, new Judeo-Spanish music. But I also write a lot in English. And Sephardic music is, I guess first of all, Sephardic people are Jews from the Iberian Peninsula diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Jews came to Europe from the Middle East, which was a really long time ago, like over 1,000 years ago, and they were. It starts kind of there. It's like we were brought to Europe often, like a lot of us as slaves,
Mm-hmm.
a really long time ago, and then some Jews ended up in the Iberian Peninsula, so like what's now Spain and Morocco, and then there was a diaspora from there around the Inquisition, so like starting in 1492 and like the 100 years after that, and those communities that ended up in like North Africa and other parts of the Middle East and in the Mediterranean areas of Europe are Sephardic. So the language is this language called Ladino, which is also sometimes called Hakitiya, or that's the Moroccan version of it, or it's called Judeo-Spanish or Judaismo. And it's a really special language. It's a really special way of expressing yourself in kind of like dramatic, poetic repertoire of songs. A lot of the music was created by women, and it's a very like female centric or feminine centric perspective, and it's kind of amazing because Jewish culture is pretty patriarchal.
Sure.
I'd say like there's a really, in Orthodox communities across the board, women are often not. You don't hear them singing. It's like So this is kind of a response to that. This is like the Jewish women's tradition, Sephardic tradition. And there are like some songs that come from the male perspective or that men would have sung, but by far and large, it's that repertoire. And for me, that as a Sephardic person and as somebody that this repertoire just really touches me, and there's a lot of room for expression. A lot of the songs are about like really modern things like sexuality and infidelity and breaking the like societal place and what relationships with your mother, relationships with other people. It's not just about love. Sometimes it's about being the recipient of like obsessive love, of like being the recipient of unwanted attention, just things that for me like really I identify with. And
it sounds like a real honest expression of like the woman's life as it is in society and how it has not changed over the years.
Right. Yeah, it's like when you're like singing some of these songs and you're like looking at the lyrics, and sometimes it's the potential lyrics, because just like in American music, there's like, oh, I could include this verse, or I could choose not to, because maybe it, but it's unbelievable how sometimes I'll be looking at these lyrics and I'll think this could have just been written by somebody. And there's also like these very independent characters that are actually less common, like from my experience with other folk like ballad styles. There are less of these kind of women that are like, oh, you're gonna cheat on me, goodbye, like I'm locking you out of the house, I'm, you know, just this whole thing. And so and where I kind of come into that is because I grew up playing first Celtic music and American like old time fiddle music and just American string band music. I kind of combine those two styles, and it allows me to write music in English that feels similar to the music that I'm singing that's in Judeo-Spanish. And for me, it feels both like completely new and completely and able to make it familiar to like my audience of people that maybe have never heard any Sephardic music before. And it's also traditional because there is no instrumental tradition in Sephardic music. It's not like the klezmer tradition. It's all of the melodies. The melodies are important to me in terms of they've carried the words this far, but most of them are appropriated in the positive sense. They're taken from whatever country people were in at the time. So if it was a Sephardic community that had ended up in Istanbul, the music will sound Turkish. And if it's a Sephardic community that ended up in Morocco, the music will sound Moroccan. So there's sort of this feeling of, well, I'm here in the United States and I play fiddle, and this is music that I'm really grounded in, and I'm going to write and I'm going to write new songs and put the old songs to new melodies that fit my expression of the tradition. And for me, that's like a way of keeping it alive. And it's sort of a process that it's an adventure that I'm on. I'm still like in the process of synthesizing it. And
it sounds therapeutic, you know? Every time we talk, it feels like you're so much more grounded in this process of blending and recreating that feminine voice in both honoring the old traditions and being secure in the new.
It's kind of an amazing experience, because when I first moved back to the United States, I'd like graduated from conservatory, moved to Tel Aviv, where there's a lot more Sephardic culture. A lot of people don't realize that more than half of Israelis are either Mizrahi, which is like people that never left the Middle East, or Sephardic people. So there's like a lot more people know a lot of the songs, and you hear it a lot, and people are, it's almost like not cool because it's known. But I heard a lot more of it. And then when I came back to the States, I was singing a lot of these old Hebrew folk songs. And there was a kind of excitement around that in other people, that other people were saying, oh, you should make a whole album of, and for me, it was very,
was it surprising?
It was surprising. And also like it happened very suddenly. I didn't choose to do it. And it felt like almost right, but not right. Because even though those songs were new to the Americana, to the folk audience, for me, they were like stuff I sang with my family. They weren't things that made sense sitting next to the new music I was creating. So for years, my concert would always just feel like this weird sandwiching of music, you know, this new versions of this traditional thing, and, you know, something new that I'd written. And when I really started experimenting with creating new Sephardic music, which it's in differently, it's, you know, it's still got that, I guess it's exotic to people that mostly listen to music in English, but it's also closer. Like a lot of people understand Spanish. At every concert I play, there are Spanish speakers that come up to me that understood a lot of the concert, and are connecting to their own, you know, at some concerts I have people come up who are Spanish speakers that come from an indigenous background, you know, maybe they're Peruvian, and they'll come up and say, this made me feel like learning my grandmother's language, you know, and it's just really, it's a new thing, because this is something where I'm not just singing
old music just recreating something that's already been recorded by somebody. I'm actually able to add to the tradition. And for me, because I've been a folk musician all my life, that's like where the excitement is. It's, of course, it's important to learn the old music and to create it, you know, to be able to grasp hold of it. But if you're not adding to a tradition, the tradition is just, it's being kind of cemented in history. It's like historical music.
It's hard to pass on what won't change.
Yeah, and it's really and I don't feel like change, and I feel like all folk musicians can see this. Change doesn't record arrangement of the same piece. That's change is you have that and you're really creating some new things, and you're creating it within a folk. I don't have an answer for what that is, but I know that I'm a folk musician. I learn music by ear. I'm like interested in identity and tradition and the stories that I'm carrying forward. And so I'm not creating like art music, or, I mean, maybe at some point I'll experiment with that. But in terms of my folk practice and my practice, it's exactly the same as if I'm writing a new song and it's in English and it's influenced by the genres that I've been writing. And it really, I feel, even though I'm doing this thing that's really different from what a lot of my friends that are, you know, in the bluegrass scene or, you know, old time music, it's different from them, but it feels so similar. I feel really connected to what they're doing and excited to be able to do it within a tradition that I feel so personally connected to, that really matters to me on an identity level.
That feels like a perfect place to stop. I appreciate you so much for this interview, and thank you for being so open and honest about who you are and what you bring to our musical world. So thank you so much. We're looking forward to your second set coming up here. So be well. We'll talk again soon.
Well, hello again, everybody. That was a wonderful interview. You're a very interesting person, Lily. Just want to say. And also making wonderful music, and I'm glad I'm not muted right now. One of the things I tried to say before was that you can find a link pinned in our comments and also on our website wherein you can support the artist directly. And so if you would do that, you can find it at elderly.com/LILY. You know, that being said, I think we're about ready to get back to some more music. So off again to A Small Apartment in Brooklyn with Lily Henley.
Now I'm unmuted. Okay, cool. Thanks so much. It was so nice talking to Lily. It's nice the double Lily is fun. Yeah, before I get into some new music, I'm just going to play one song that I learned from the playing of Flora Yagoda, who's just passed away just within the last few weeks at the age of, I think, 97. She was an incredible Sephardic singer from Bosnia, where there was a community of Sephardic people up until World War II. And she was an amazing carrier of the tradition, and also wrote her own songs, and I think even did kind of what I'm loving to do also, which is wrote either new melodies to old songs or just had a lot of amazing versions of songs that were kind of different. And this is one that I actually haven't heard anybody but her do. It's called Yochanino Tu Chanina. Chanino is actually a Hebrew word, which means beautiful, or it comes from chen, so it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's the man says, "I'm beautiful and you're beautiful. We should get married and have lots of children." And the woman says, "Thank you so much, but you're asking my dad for a lot of money and he's not going to say yes. So. Yo Janina, tú Janina, tomaremos los dos, los hijos que nacen como la luna y el sol. Los hijos que nacen como la luna y el sol. Aman, 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 como la luna y el sol. Muchas gracias, Mancevico, que mandaste corridor. Muchas liras me demandas, no mi cheta, mi señor. Muchas liras me demandas, no mi cheta, mi señor. Aman, 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 no mi cheta, mi señor. Yo Janino, tú Janina, tomaremos los dos, los hijos que nacen como la luna y el sol. Los hijos que nacen como la luna y el sol. Aman, 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 como la luna y el sol. Aman, 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 como la luna y el sol. When I forgot to move my mic around, so I'm sorry if my guitar was not audible. But if that is the only technical issue I have during this show, it will be a success. So I'm gonna have Duncan come back. And kind of in a uniquely strange position of having two albums that are unreleased that are both in the mastering phase, which means that they're basically ready to be put out. And this happened because of the pandemic, partly, and because of the fact that I kickstarted this album. In 2017, I wrote like a series of songs that all were like thematically connected, and I still don't have a completely full-length album out. And so I was like, this is it. I'm gonna crowdfund for the first time, and so I put together a team for how I wanted to record the album, which I eventually did at this amazing studio called Mason Jar Music in Brooklyn, with really a dreamy cast of musicians that I really loved working with. And I kickstarted it, and it led to the Ladino record because while I was kickstartering it, I kind of ran out of stuff to post online. I'm not like a huge social media person, and so I ran out of things and started singing, like doing whatever I felt like, and I was singing a lot of these Ladino songs, and I was posting little clips of them, and then that's how the Ladino record ended up happening. So I have these two albums out, ready to come out, and I'm going to put one of them out first and then the next one out. But this song is the title track from the record that I'll put out after this. That's all in English, and it's called Imperfect By Design, which is the name of this song. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Kind of a love song to not being too much of a perfectionist, which I am a perfectionist in sort of a lifelong journey, trying not to let that take over and ruin everything. I used to wear you like a jetpack. You were small and warm up against my back, and when the nights got cold, into your arms I would fall. You used to layer me with sunscreen, but I don't know how long it's been since I last heard you speak, felt your fingers against my
sunscreen, but I don't know how long it's been since I last heard you speak. Felt your fingers against my cheek. I know you're searching in your mind for a sign, but we're imperfect by design. We're imperfect by design. Cold winter's creeping under my door. Oh, I want it more now. I won't have you anymore. Cold winter's creeping under my door. I want it more now. I won't have you anymore. I know you're searching in your mind for a sign, but we're imperfect by design. I'm imperfect by design.
Yeah. That was fun. The thing that I'm never going to get used to is playing to no one at all. Right now I don't even have I'm using my phone, so I can't even see if people are commenting on Facebook or something. So send me the love. Hopefully I can feel it through the airwaves. But it is nice to be reminded about that the whole reason a person becomes a musician at all is because it's just so fun to play music. So I'm enjoying that a lot. I'm gonna do the ballad. So I'm gonna try this song that I haven't performed that much. It's a really serious mouthful. And it has kind of a cool little story, which is that, I don't know, for people that are aware of the ballad tradition, there is this huge collection of ballads that, the child ballads that were collected by, what was his first name, do you know? I'm not like a specialist, but anyway, his last name was Child, and there was all these ballads that were collected, and a lot of them are really famous. Like, chances are, even if you haven't heard of the child ballads, you know of a child ballad. In the 60s, a lot of folk singers sang at least a couple of them as part of their repertoire. And there's one that I don't know how common it is. It's called Cold, Haily, Windy Night. But it has that standard storyline where, you know, there's the night visitor. The man comes to the woman's window and knocks and asks to be let in. And she says, I can't let you in. My mother will hear. My father will hear. And he convinces her, and he comes up, and they make love, and then she asks him, she says, well, I love you, so we're gonna get married, right? And he says, no, actually, we'll never get married, and I'm leaving right now, and you'll never see me again. Always pleasant. And I actually really love, I love especially the melody of that particular ballad, and I was really into singing it for a while, but I kind of wanted the reverse story, so I wrote a ballad kind of as like from the woman's perspective, where the man comes knocking, and the same story happens, but at the end the man says, can we be together forever? And she says, I was just having fun, just for the night, you know, don't get any ideas. And it sounded strange in English, and when I was making this record, I had a chance to kind of do some co-writing with somebody that's like a really serious Ladino speaker, and we wrote kind of a version of it in Ladino. And it sounds really perfect in Ladino. It sounds like, because there's so many songs like this with really strong female characters, it just feels right. So this is the song. It's called I'll Love You Just Tonight. Or I'll love you tonight. Esta noche te amaré. Esta noche kind of means like, tonight I'll love you. And it's the story of this passionate love affair that ends in a disappointed man rather than a disappointed woman. So yeah, here it is.
Just as long as somebody's disappointed.
Better be disappointed than totally shamed and abandoned.
Aquella noche estaba echada sola en su cama, cuando siento que chafeaban y brilló una luz tras la ventana. Aquí estaba detrás del llanto la velica en la mano, protejándola porque así. Si afirmaba que uno viera tu vela brillando en la montaña, aclarándonos las caras, centellando en el quedar. Se quedó mirando su sombra sin su falla lucia, entinó en la calor de su abrazo. Me dejarás que entre por ti camine y camino largo, esperando solo por decirte cuánto te quiero, esta noche te amaré. Sin ruido levanto la ventana contra la pared, ramas de salma chiquimetas te trepan en el aire. Subió su amante, la tomó en brazos, a salvo en la oscuridad de la luna. Y dejaría se mataría su candela, ella era su flama. En las tinieblas le demandaba si sería su esposa. Ahora que me dejares entrar, no dejaré que te vayas. Tanto tiempo esperantes que yo me quedaría. Yo no sabía que la noche no pasaría más amor, que sabía que la noche no pasaría. Y la 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 la. Entonces la besó y la llamó con su nombre, se mataría su candela, ella era su flama. En las tinieblas le demandaba si sería su esposa. Cuando amanecieron la noche se trucó, día el encanto se fuyó, despuntó el sol, viervos le vinieron a la boca, ella no tomó la cuya suya. Ahora que te dejé entrar, de que te quedas tanto tiempo esperantes, que yo me quedaría más amor, que sabía que la noche no pasaría, y más amor, que sabía que la noche no pasaría. Y la 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 la.
switch to, what do we do, Morena?
Okay.
Yeah.
What do I play on? Do I play on?
Or let's do like a weed. Yeah, so trying to shake it up a little bit. So this is I need that. Thank you very much. So this is a song that I wrote called Like a Weed. Actually, I'm not a fan of, I wish that there was something more interesting to say. There's always so many interesting things to say about the songs in Judeo-Spanish, and I feel like this song, I guess I'll just play it, and you can decide. Cool? Cool. It's really good too. Hold on just a second. There we go. Bet you died on before. Oh wait, you want to start it the way we're supposed to?
Just start it that way.
Okay. You have to have at least one false start per set. Bet you died on fortune's wheel. 'Cause I know Achilles' heel, and now you're ringing the bell of fate. Is it too late? That you want to apologize? Recognize that look in your dark eyes. You give it all of me, that's sincere. It's a battle that I won't ever win. What was it like to be with you? What was it like to be with you? What was it like to be with I want you to play my game, 'cause I need something that I won't ever name. You gotta keep me satisfied if you want my love. Sand filtered me through the sea, filter my words and you just won't believe what started out as a dirty sea. It's grown over my heart just like a weed. What was it like to be with you? What was it like to be with you? What was it like to be with What was it like
the FedEx truck. Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
That's how you know it's not pre-recorded.
You know it's the FedEx when they're like so aggressive about the poor. Can you have my computer so I can charge?
You know, you always say that, but it's only one volume.
Yeah, but they push the button and they push it like really. I always know it's them. They're more aggressive than USPS or UPS. I'm telling you, it's like serious. So all right. I hope you're all enjoying the full living room experience from our apartment. I'm gonna play Little Wheel. So maybe all the way up here. Yeah. So this is a song that I learned from the playing of Buffy St. Marie, who is awesome. And you probably know who she is, but she, if you don't, she's a native Canadian folk singer. She's been around for a really long time and wrote amazing songs, and is still around making cool music, I think. And this is from, I think, 1968, 67 or 68 record that she made of the same name called Little Wheel, Spin and Spin. And I really love singing this song. I feel like it just never becomes not relevant. It's basically very relevant is what I meant by that. So, yeah, it's one of those songs that I kind of wish I'd written. So. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Merry Christmas, jingle bells, Christ is born, and the devil's in hell. Hearts they shrink, pockets swell, everybody know and nobody tell. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. All the sins of Caesar's men, crime and pious citizens who petty thief and 5 and 10s, and the big wheel turns around and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn around and round. Blame the angels, blame the saints, blame the Jews or your sister Kate. Teach the children how to hate, and the big wheel turn around and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Turn your back on weeds you hold, silly sinful seeds you've sowed. Had your straw to the camel load, ran like hell when the world exploded. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Spin your girl, fiddler say, later on piper pay. Dusty dust, swing and sway, dad will dance on a judgment day. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round and round. Little wheel, spin and spin, big wheel, turn round. So just have a couple more left, I'd say. Yeah. Let's do Marina. So I need the fiddle. Oof, sorry. Apologies to my guitar. This is a. I don't think this.
Oh.
This is a Ladino song. That is called Morena Me Llaman, and it's I mean, there's probably a lot of interpretations, especially depending on which melody, which words you decide to use, because there's a lot of different verses. And but with the verses that I chose and my feeling about the person who's singing, I would say that she says pretty clearly. She says, she says, when the sailors call, I'll come to them. When the king's son calls me, I'll come to him. If love is an arrow, may it shoot straight. So, and she says, she says that she's viewed darkly, although she basically says that society does not approve of what she's doing, and she doesn't really care. So I like that. Such because of this way that we're playing this concert. I can see you. You're like in a window behind me, like staring. All right, so this is Morena. Cool. I think it'll pick up pretty well.
Morena me llama, yo blanca decide pasear cada noche, de color verde y vestido de verde. Si dice la novia, con el cheribi.
All right, so checking the set list just in case I forgot something cool. Do you want to do Boats of the River? Okay, so take this. And I guess I will do. Do you want to do Pink Rose?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this will be our last song. Text me if seems like a fair length of time. Just checking. Perfect. Okay, yeah. So this will be our last song. Thank you so much to Elderly, and to Stan and Lily and AJ for all their help and doing these kind of living room sessions. It sounds so chill and casual, and we try to make it that way, but it's challenging, and it's really amazing, the work that they put into that. And support, yeah, if you gotta support live music and instruments, yeah, getting your instruments from a real knowledgeable, amazing place like Elderly. And yeah, as they've said, you can donate some money to make this show that kind of show. But even if not, just check us out on Instagram or Facebook, and follow Spotify, whatever you do. And yeah, support art and music and folk music. This song is a beautiful traditional song called Pink Rose, Gulpembe, and it's from the Turkish Sephardic repertoire, and it has a beautiful line in it, beautiful or creepy depending on your take, but it's a love song, and the person says in it, I looked through I crept up to your door and looked at you through the keyhole, and I saw you sitting there in your room, and I kissed the lock as if I was kissing your cheek, which I think is very sweet.
Hopefully it wasn't too cold and he didn't get, stuck to the Never mind.
Good job. Excellent. And I'll never be able to unthink that. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much, and see you at some point, hopefully in real life. Por tu puerta yo pasé, te vi sentada. La llave dura yo besé, como pesadas tus caras. Amana gülpembe, gülpembe, ne büyük güzelliksende. Aman aman gülpembe, gülpembe, ne büyük güzellik sende. No te dejes que te bese y te tengo y abrazar. Tengo y hablo en la sala, te tengo culandeado. Aman aman gülpembe, gülpembe, ne büyük güzellik sende. Aman aman gülpembe, gülpembe, ne büyük güzellik sende. Ojos pretos tienes tú,
por vos, mamis, me muero. Cuando veo los pedulis, cabo fue ahí me entero. Amana ma good bembe. Never güzellik sende. Amana ma good bembe. Never güzellik sende. Amana ma good bembe. Never güzellik sende. Amana ma good bembe. Never güzellik sende.
Thanks very much.
Well, thank you so much, Lily Henley, for a wonderful concert. I'm sure I'm not the only person who will say that. Although I can't tell at this moment, but I'm sure everybody loved it. Thanks to AJ for running tech, and to my Lily for hosting the interview. And of course, thanks to the audience for joining us, which is your cue to head over to elderly.com/Lily, Lily, to show your direct appreciation. All proceeds go to the artist, as well as to subscribe to our email list. Be sure to follow Elderly Instruments and Lily Henley on your favorite social media platforms, and we'll see you next month with Rachel Davis. Thanks again.